and that is why after independence, introduction of high yielding varieties. There comes the era of the green revolution. What is green revolution basically means? It is era where food grain production increases, and how that happens during the introduction of high yielding varieties. Basically, these high yielding varieties are varieties other than traditional varieties, and have more yield potential. And they can produce more yield potential than traditional varieties. They require some traditional management practices. They require chemicals controlling the diseases, and they require chemicals for controlling the insects like insecticides, and more water compared to traditional varieties. But as they were leading to the more food grain production, so the government started launching schemes as well as irrigation projects to support these high yielding varieties, so that we can continue our production and we can become self sufficient in terms of grain production. If we talk about today's scenario, our country is not just self sufficient in food production, but also we are in the position of exporting food grains. We are not meeting our requirement, but also exporting this food grain to the other countries. Slowly and slowly we are moving to modern agriculture. The commercial agriculture practices are doing right now that is showing huge impact on the environment. We do not want that. So sustainable that so that we are using the resources as well as we are keeping the need of the future generation as well in mind. That is why we are uh, on modern agriculture. What is the scenario to more? What will be the scenario to move on to high yielding varieties is that we are taking care of the resources that we have, and we do not we are meeting our requirement, taking care of the need of the future generation. That is about the brief history of agriculture, and how agriculture has changed in India, and the scenario in agriculture in India, but changed by the time. So students, as I was telling you the beginning, agriculture is not just about crop production, but also rearing animal, fisheries, forestry, and you will see that agriculture is a vast subject. To make the study of agriculture easier, it has been divided into few branches. Broadly, we have seven branches on agriculture. Let us see one by one. What are all these branches one by one, and what are all the comes under these branches? Very first branch is agronomy. Agronomy is a branch of agriculture which is dealing with the field crops and the management. What are field crops? Like rice, wheat, mustard, pulses, crops like cotton, sugarcane, all these are all comes under the dealing with the production and management of that are all comes under the branch of agriculture known as agronomy. Now, apart from fruits, flowers, vegetables, all these horticulture crops are built under branch of agriculture, that is horticulture. Basically, consider this as horticulture as a branch of agriculture science dealing with production of fruits, flowers, beverages, spices, condiments, their production and their marketing, their management, that is all dealt under branches of agriculture, that is horticulture. Next, we have forestry. As the name suggests, forestry, when we are dealing with the management of the forest, when we are dealing with the management of the produce that we are getting, forest crops and their management is the branch of agriculture that is known as forestry. Then we have next branch, that is animal husbandry. As the name suggests, animal husbandry. This branch is of agriculture is dealing with the rearing and breeding of animals, like cow, buffalo, sheep, pigs, etc. All these are animals are reared by the farmers. A study of this animals their rearing, their breeding is built under the branch of animal husbandry. Next, we have the fishery science. Fishery science is dealing with all the aquatic animals, like produce which we are getting from marine environment or from oceanic environment, that is dealt under the fishery science. We fishes crabs, lobsters. These are all comes under the fishery science. Next we have is agricultural engineering. Now students, we are getting any kind of produce from the different branches of agriculture. But now getting these produce, managing these things, we are forest crops or field crops or culture crops, animals. You need some allied things like study of the tools and implements used for this management agriculture is still under the branches of agricultural engineering, culture engineering. And next we have is home science. Now once we have got the produce, how can we value addition, how can we use this value addition to these produces? We can be better utilize these produces, so that we can achieve national food security. And this study of these things, utilization of resources, utilization of agriculture produces in better way to achieve this food security is dealt under the branch of agricultural which is known as home science. Now I hope you have got the clarity what are all these branches of seven branches of agriculture, the what are all the things that study under each branch of agriculture. Now there are these branches can be further grouped under three main branches that like for example first is crop production group. You can see here, these seven branches can be three groups, that is first is that is agronomy, horticulture and forestry comes under crop production group. We are producing any kind of crop. So in your agronomy, we are field crops. We are horticulture. We are getting horticultural crops, and forestry we are getting forest crops. Forest crops. Okay, that is why these three branches are classified as crop production group. Next, have this animal management group. In this animal management group, all the branches which are dealing with this any kind of like your animal husbandry, fisheries, we are taking mostly with animals. These can group under animal management. Next is like allied agricultural groups. Allied agricultural groups means they are not directly fall under agriculture. They are not directly involved in any kind of production, but they are